Well, good morning. Let me check something first here. Make sure Indiana's spelled right on my hat before we get started. But appreciate you guys being here. Watched the film, and just as disappointed as I was after the game. So that doesn't change. But we had a good day yesterday with our guys, and had some open, honest conversations, and just heart-to-hearts about where we are and what we got to do to get where we want to be. So I thought the guys responded well in regards to our meetings yesterday and lifting and moving on to our next opponent. So the bottom line for me is how you respond to this kind of situation. So that's going to be the focus, and love our guys, believe in them, and excited to see them learn from the things that happened on Saturday and press on, move forward. So excited about Saturday's opportunity, first home game for us and our program. And man, just really excited to get our fans back into our stadium. And it's going to be a 7:30 kickoff, so I want our fans to be able to enjoy the tailgating piece and getting here early and being able to enjoy the atmosphere. And I know our guys can't wait to be able to perform in front of them. So that really is a big deal. Obviously, everything we've all been through with last year and not being able to be a part of it and getting our fans back in the stadium is going to be huge for our guys. So really looking forward to that. And do want to recognize some guys. We do not give out players of the week when we don't win games, and so, but we do still recognize our scouts and the work that they do for our team. And so our defensive scout team player of the week was Maurice Freeman, and he's a young man that's really just practices so hard, does a great job of giving our offense a great look. And then as an offensive scouts, we had David Holloman and Nick Morosis. David is a guy I mentioned before, as a freshman running back, and continues to just practice really, really hard. And I just appreciate Nick's leadership and what he's doing for our team. And then special team scout of the week was Andrew Turvey, a young man from Carmel High School here in state, and just practices really, really hard. So appreciate these guys and what they do for us every single day as they develop as players and as we continue to move forward. So at this time, we'll just take questions.
Tom, I know you always preach, one game at a time and such, and we transition forward now. But if you could, just what was the plane ride home like, and what were the meetings like and the conversations like yesterday, so that you can sort of gain something from all that went wrong?
Well, I mean, the ride, the locker room was pretty somber. There's a group of guys that have invested a lot, and they were just really, you wake up the next day, and we talked that through too. You just got this sick feeling in your stomach, and you just wake up feeling awful, and you do, and that's just how it's how you respond when you care a whole bunch and things don't go the way you want them to, and for a variety of reasons. And so, I thought yesterday, but to me, it's more about, once you have a chance to address it and watch the film and talk about it openly and honestly. I think it's really critical the way they leave, and that to me is what I was focusing on, was how they walked out of the facility at the end of the day. And we do a lot with them on Sundays, and when they leave the building that night, I want to make sure that that experience is flushed, good or bad, and we're now ready to move on to our next opponent. And that's what we did. And so now, even with in the past, we've actually had Sundays was our off day. The last couple of years, we moved it to Mondays our off day. And so for the players, and so we were with them, yesterday, which I think is a good thing, and be able to go through and actually get on the field again. That's the last thing we do. About a 40-minute practice with our guys, and to be able to even introduce, do some corrections from the game, and then introduce our next opponent. So just to be able to get their mind, and prior to getting on the field, we have a 20-minute meeting about the next opponent. So you just really have a chance to really kind of work through the previous game, good or bad, and then get your mind right and get your focus on the next opponent, which is really most important at this point.
You obviously mentioned having to watch film of this one. What did you see from Mike Penix in particular on the rewatch? What sort of things did you sort of notice about why he might have been off? What was them? What was him? Just what did you kind of get on the second look?
Yeah, I mean, I think, going through and, just getting him, as you watch and you see a lot of high throws and just getting comfortable in the pocket. And, I'm just being very transparent. I mean, I think you got to go through and he's got to work through the process of being live, and I just think, in practice you can say what it is and you're not live obviously at that point and you're not going to make it live. I don't think there's no way you go back and ever do that. But until it is, it's really not the same probably. And so I just think that there's, just wasn't obviously himself. You guys can all see that. I saw that. You saw that. So, but no wavering whatsoever within him. He just got to continue to work through that process of the confidence in that. And he's definitely 100% in regards to the knee and just being able to play that way. And I think that's the process you got to go through. And he's going through it with us, and we're going through it with him. And it's obviously everybody's in this together. And so, but yeah, the first one was a tip ball, and receiver slipped, and then ball was tipped, and obviously we saw the result of that. And then just the one to me was supposed to be thrown out of bounds, and just got away from him. To be honest with you, it wasn't even the receiver wasn't even turned around. I mean, it wasn't even like. It was just kind of an odd thing that happened. I've really not seen him ever, do that before. And then the other one was just a, misread, kind of a thing on the coverage wise, and just kind of guy jumped it and, just mistake, So, but those are costly. I mean, turn the ball over, on offense. The turnover ratio, explosive play ratio, that's really what defines games. We've talked about all the time. And everybody knows the stats. When you win those two categories, you really pretty much win close to 80 to 85% of the games you're going to play in. So we lost a turnover battle to them, and that's how you lose games.
We didn't see Luke Haggard or Zach Carpenter on the line, and you talked about after the game about getting the line issues fixed. What kind of actions or options do you have to do that?
Yeah, unfortunately, Luke got dinged up and was really expecting him to be a starter, and so we just got to work through that and hopefully get him back. So that to me is something that we were hoping to get him ready for the game, and he was there on an emergency basis, but even just going through warm-ups just didn't feel like it was probably a good idea, so, but it's nothing long-term or serious, but we're hoping to get him back, and then just get Zach, just bring him along too. So he's we're definitely looking at all options at that point. So I think those guys are definitely going to be, got to get the best five out there, and whoever those best five are, whatever combination it is, we're going to figure it out, and that's what we're going to go with, So, but yeah, we got to continue that. To me, and just watching the film, we just didn't block good enough. I mean, you just call it what you want, but we didn't sustain our blocks. We were working to the right people most of the time, but just not able to stay on them. And to me, it was receivers, it was tight ends, low line, it was everybody, quarterbacks carrying out his fakes, all the little things you got to do. So just to me, that wasn't to our standards. It's got even better, and it's being addressed and will be addressed.
Coach, not to lament Michael Penix, but on that particular play that you were talking about, the forced that one interception, he seemed to have a lot of room of which he could have ran the ball. And I know it's been talked about with him not running, but is that sitting in the back of his head maybe too much right now, and an uncomfortability of him and in his decision making?
I think just to being fair, I think you got to be open and honest about things, and we've had good conversations, and yeah, I think it's something he's got to keep working through. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you guys, we all know, the history, and you got to work through that, and that's part of this process to me. And but we all know how we have to play this game, and he understands that as well. So to me, that's something that every day, every game, every rep, everything we do, you continue to gain confidence in that, and we got to get to that point. Yes.
Yeah, Coach, in reviewing the film, the penalties, how many were self-inflicted, and how much of that is going to be a point of emphasis this week in practice?
Huge emphasis for sure. There were two personal fouls that were both we just call them selfish penalties, So, and we literally already had the one issue with the quarterback, had showed video from the previous week, happened to a team that played week 1 or week 0, where it's not the hit on the quarterback, it's the driving him into the ground, and showed that to our team, and then we made the exact same mistake. So so that's being addressed. And then the same with the one for the old lineman, Michael Kadick, just inexcusable. So those are addressed. And then just the false starts, you can't have those, and those are costly, very costly. And then holding penalty, the one we had on the O line, in addition to those, to me those are, and holdings to me are more. You talk about self-inflicted. I mean, that's it's technique, it's positioning. Usually the holding is your feet, and your hands get caught doing the holding, but your feet are the ones that get you in trouble. So, it's a lot of variables for that. But you got to eliminate mistakes, and those just kill drives, especially on our offense. It just really, really, really set us back, put us behind the chains, and made it really difficult. So, especially in that environment against that defense. So, you can't, we talked about playing, fundamentally sound and not making mistakes, and we didn't do either one.
You mentioned in your opening statement just atmosphere and fans and what they bring. This will be the first time that the Marching 100 is back in Memorial Stadium since 2019. What do they bring to the game day atmosphere, and what will it be like to have them back?
Love it. To me, when I hear the bands playing, that's why I think that's what makes college different, than the professional game. And it's just an awesome part of the atmosphere. And I love that part of it. And excited to have them back, and wanted to have them back, and want this place to be loud and rocking, And so that to me is, all part of it. And we're all in this together. And that's why I've tried to do everything I can do in the last few years here to encourage that and just be able to thank them, publicly and appreciate them, because I do. And I know the role that they play and how important it is, and just getting, the people, the fans, our players, everybody engaged and feeling the energy and the electricity of the stadium.
I have a injury update question. Where is Monster at? Is there any update on kind of his status coming into this week?
Yeah, they did keep him, but he's been released, and so be able to get his mom up there with him, and so they're on their way back actually this morning, and so got a lot of good news from that. So it's just an upper body injury, but I don't know the short term as far as return to play status yet, but I do know that we got a lot of good test results back, and which was very, very positive, and spoken to him already several different times and messaging him and his mom, and so just encouraged by his progress. Yep.
And just how much do you have to maybe challenge to step up now that you've got kind of another experienced body back?
Correct. Yeah. I thought Josh stepped in. He played over 50 snaps, and we challenged our guys in that very possibility. You never know who it's going to be. I gave him a story, last week about one of the players I used to coach at a previous place that was a third-string guy in the opening game of a top 25 matchup. And third-string guy had to play the entire second half because of just the two guys in front of him ended up getting knocked out of the game. And so never knowing if that's going to be you and being ready for that. Now, obviously, Josh was a number 2, and he ended up playing 50 snaps, and that wasn't what he was expecting to play. But I thought he was really solid. I thought he did a really good job. I want to continue for him to develop and be able to communicate at a higher level. But he made some plays for sure. I thought Raheem Lane played really well, but he's rusty. I mean, he played, hadn't played in over a year, and he was so excited. He made some mistakes without question, a lot more over aggression and just the energy. And I just think once he calmed down, he made fewer of those, but still wasn't, as good as he's going to be. Marcelo Ball, same thing, hadn't played for, it's his first game in over a year. But at the same time, the secondary did a lot of good things, a lot of areas to work on for sure. Not 100% pleased with everything there, but did some good things, enough to build off of without question. So I thought our defense was very solid, as I said, even after the game, watching the film. Just got to eliminate some of those major mistakes. But the effort I thought on defense was what you want. I thought our defensive line was very productive. So, but secondary played well, but we can play better, and we're going to play better.
I want to go back to what you said about the offensive line. I guess how Did you have a set five when Luke was healthy? Basically, how sort of open is the competition for those spots right now?
We did, and that was kind of what we thought it was going to be, for most of fall camp. And then, just one of those things that happened in practice. But that changed all that. But at the same time, yeah, we're going to definitely have competition there. I wouldn't know if it's open for every position, but, we're always trying to find the best combination. So to me, it's find the best five guys. And the combination that includes will be, you looked at this week, various things to be able to have different options for sure. But I want guys that are going to play physical, and they're going to execute, and they're going to finish.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well. After the game, you mentioned special teams briefly, but I guess looking back on the film, what do you see you can improve on special teams, and especially James Evans playing in his first game? How do you kind of maybe settle him down after that first game so he can move forward?
Yeah, I thought James, he punted very poorly. His first 3 punts weren't very good. And, it was his first game of his entire life. But others have had that same situation. So he just didn't respond very well initially. I thought the more he kicked, the better he got, and which is what you want to see, So there's no question that he needed all those reps for sure, and was encouraged by how he responded. So I feel really good about where he's at this point, and he needed those reps, and we tried to do everything we could to simulate the game situation, the live situation with both the crowd noise and pressure, and hitting him with shields, and just trying to rough him up a little bit, to feel the pressure, because he's the third one we've had in this situation, and they all, it's pretty new for all of them. So just trying to create that environment, but he didn't respond as well initially, but then calmed down and did a better job. And then we were 2 for 2 on field goals, and then the 2 other things that stuck out to me negatively were the first kickoff coverage wasn't, we guess these guys didn't execute the call. They jumped things, they assumed some things and didn't read and react. And then the kick out of bounds is just inexcusable. I mean, that's their job. So do your job, so it cannot happen.
Tom, I don't mean to at all dismiss Tyler Goodson's 56-yard run, because the breakdowns in that play were real obvious. But after that, he had only 39 yards and 17 carries, 2.3 yards per game. It seemed like you guys handled their running game pretty well after that. When you watch film and such, were you pleased with that aspect of it outside of that one?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, that's what the video showed, and that's what I felt I saw, during the game. But you can't, we know we can't erase the play. It's obviously a huge part of the game. And his momentum, it was a lot of things, but big picture-wise, moving forward, which is the whole point here and what we're talking about is, yeah, you definitely feel with a team that's what they do. I mean, that's what they hang their hat on. That's where the strength of their team lies. And to be able to, in an area that we've, I wouldn't say that we, that our run defense last year was the strength of our defense, And so to me, it was something that we've emphasized, something that I know we needed to get better at in order to play the way we want to play in this conference and to be able to do things we want to do and I believe we can do and will do in this conference. You have to stop the run. So very encouraged by that. And like I said, it's a collective group effort with that, and that was a very positive thing for the future.
Yeah, Coach, what are your expectations, hopes for fan turnout these next 2 games, coming back home, and how much do you want the crowd to kind of be a factor, these next
Yeah, I mean,
games?
it's a home game, and so I understand the impact that fans have on a game and the atmosphere that you have, and for, both teams, encouragement and energy from us, and then just be able to deal with the noise on third downs, especially for opposing teams' offense and communication and all how that affects guys jumping off sides and being slower on the snap count and getting jump on things. And so those are all things that play into outcomes of games. And as we always have said, home field advantage gives you an advantage. That's why they call it that. So, and it's because there's fans. It's not just because you're playing at home. It's the fans in the stands that give you that home field advantage, So, yeah, it's important for sure, and excited for everybody to get out here and enjoy just great Indiana University football.
Coach, you've talked about all the things that need to be cleaned up, but you only have 4 days to do that. How much can you likely expect to get accomplished in that short of a time to get that done and to get to where you want this team and where they should be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where, as we often say, game day's coming and the clock's ticking. So sense of urgency with that. That's why I think yesterday was so important to not only just to, flush things out, but just to be open and honest about where you are with things and address them. And that process is continuing even into today as a staff. And then tomorrow's practice is huge. The way our guys come and approach their opportunity at 7 o'clock, our first team meeting in the morning, and be able to have the right mindset and to have a great Tuesday morning practice and film study and walkthrough and everything that goes into this to be able to give us the progression that we have to have. And there's obviously guys, we got some guys that didn't play that we hope to get back to play, to get them healthy and get them part of what we're doing. That's part of it as well. But and it's just continuing to go through the process that we got to get where we want to be. And there's no question. I mean, obviously everybody knows that it wasn't what anybody wanted. And it's my responsibility. The buck stops with me, and I have to own it, and I do. And it's my responsibility to get it fixed. And so that's where we're at. And excited for our guys to be able to have the opportunity. That's one thing that's great about this awesome game is that it was a game, but it was one game. And so now we got to move on to our second opportunity, and that's the beauty of this sport. You got to be able to respond, and you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror, and you got to be able to make honest assessments and evaluations, and you got to go fix them. And there's a lot of pride in this football team, and a lot of guys that have worked extremely hard. And so we got a lot of work ahead of us, but we're excited about the opportunity to get back out there on Saturday and represent our university.
Ryder Anderson led you in a lot of categories, sacks and TFLs and even solo tackles. Pretty good for a debut for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I tell you what, he not surprising. He was the defensive MVP of us for our defense in the spring, and we saw a lot of those same things out of him then. And he also brings a lot of leadership, to that room. And I think I said that before when we brought him here and expected him to do that. And he's done that. He's just such a steadying force in there. He's not just he's a big guy, but he's physically strong and he moves well, but he's also got maturity to him. And so he backed it up with his play, which is what I expected him to do. And just want other guys to follow suit, and I thought, Weston Kramer's I actually mentioned him to our whole team yesterday because of how hard he plays. I mean, just his effort. And it's that way every single day. I don't know if I've ever seen a kid at this level practice as hard as he does every single day. It does not matter. And to me, it's infectious, it's contagious, and I love it. And I want it to infiltrate everybody. And it's not that we didn't play hard, but I'm just saying that kid takes it to another level. And he's not, a massively big guy, but he has a massively big motor. And that's an awesome, awesome thing because he controls that. That's what makes that so powerful because sometimes he can't control how tall he is, but he can control how hard he plays and how tough he is. And that's what I love about him. And so thankful that we brought him here and really excited for his opportunity. So, yeah, I thought Ryder did a great job and expect him to continue to be very productive for us. Awesome. Have a great day. Leo.